Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester, and welcome to controversial opinions or controversial takes, whatever you want to call it. Before we dive into your submissions, we've had a few on some of our social platforms. We're going to save that for the end because I think there's some interesting debates in there, and it could get a little bit dicey in terms of opinions and stuff. So we'll dive into that. But I also want to discuss, and Sam also wanted to discuss as well, the Casemiro situation, which is ongoing. Very various opinions floating about on social media and, from ex-football players and pundits alike. And we want to give our spin on it and get your take on that. And then also I wanted to pick up on Onana versus De Gea debate, Sam, because that's another thing that's flying about with Liverpool's third goal that went in. A lot of people question his positioning, and it's something that we've questioned before. So, yeah, that's something I want to talk about. But just on Casemiro, Sam, we had Talk of the Devils dropped their podcast today, and Andy Mitten suggesting Casemiro wasn't happy with the tactics from last season. He felt the tactics didn't play to his strengths and exposed his weaknesses where he had to cover more ground. What's the case here, in your opinion? As Casemiro's legs undeniably gone, does he need more protection around him? For example, would Tony Cruz, if you put him in this system, I know he's retired now, would we see a similar situation?
I think it's half a dozen one, half a dozen the other. And I think everybody who's going, it's all Casemiro's fault, and he's the reason we lost. I think it's a very black and white way of thinking. And then the people who are going, it's not Casemiro's fault. He has no fault at all. It's the manager because he picked him. I think both camps have sort of bases in knowledge and fact, but they're just going to the extremes of the situation and the problem. Because the problem lies in Casemiro is obviously making stupid decisions and he's reckless with his passing, with his tackling, and mistiming things, which is obviously not going to help the team. And then at the same time, the tactics the manager is employing is totally exposing him and the midfield wide open to cause further issues. So even if Casemiro was having a bad day, your other midfield and your tactics should be able to sort of sniff that out and realise, okay, he needs extra protection here. We need to shore this up. But he's not. He's continuing on with this. I've described it as like, as soon as we get the ball, it's like we can't wait to transition and go forward.
Yeah.
It's like we cannot contain ourselves. And it's like we don't even think of like, right, where's the pass going? Or is this person available? It's just like, go forward, go forward, go forward.
Yeah.
And we just rush it and it ends up going forward. And we misplace the pass. Someone's out of time. Someone's offside, blah, blah. And it just seems like it's just balls to the wall, chaos. Go, 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 go. And at times last season, that it went to our advantage at time with certain teams like Fulham last season, like it played into our hands, and it not Fulham. Who the fuck was it that we sort of went to? Because Fulham beat us, didn't they, last season?
Yeah. Where we've had chaotic games and we've ended up winning them, and it's happened on a few occasions. I know what you mean.
Yeah, like there's been games like that, and it's played into our favour. Yeah, it's not been a great watch as a United person, but as a neutral, we were fantastic to watch. So I think it's a combination of the two. And then the other side of it is, I don't know if we were going to touch on Rashford as well, but the Rashford scapegoating is getting ridiculous now. Now, I'm not saying Rashford had a good game. I'm not saying Rashford's had a good game for a long time, because he hasn't. He's been terrible to poor for the last season and the first 3 games of this season. However, blaming him for the entire thing is totally out of order, because every single player let us down on that pitch yesterday. Not a single player on that pitch who can hold their head up high and be like, yeah, I played well. And then people having a go at Toby Collier as well. It's just like, what do you want a 20-year-old to do in his first Premier League debut? Like, what is it you expect from him? You want him to do, it's just, there's so many hot takes and people going after one issue when it's not one issue. It's multiple issues. There's so many issues going wrong on the pitch and player-wise, because we've got everything right upstairs now and things are sorted and stuff like that. But on the pitch, it's still just as chaotic as it was upstairs. It's like we haven't sorted this bit out, and that's where I'm sitting. And I've had quite a few debates with Dan, who's normally in the chat, who was claiming that Casemiro was getting abused. Now, all the criticism I've seen has been fair criticism, I would say. He gave the ball away. He was in mistake for 2 goals. And I don't think there's thing. And then people said, oh, then his wife is kicked off. It's not, no, his wife's not kicked off. Her husband was receiving criticism and she stood up for her man. Like, I don't see what the issue is with that. Like, it seems like a nothing story, and it's because it's United, it just gets blown up. And now I'm ranting. I'm sorry. I need to stop ranting. Like, I don't need to be doing that.
No,
Apologies.
no, it's fine. I think much like many people after when you get beat at home to your rivals 3-0 and you make the mistakes that you do, naturally, whether it's right or wrong, there's going to be an outburst and there's going to be reaction and people are going to take it too far sometimes. We see it all the time. You know, it's a difficult one because with Marcus Rashford, I know what you mean by scapegoating and his name just gets brought up straight away.
He's been terrible. Let me just get it straight.
Yeah,
he has been terrible as a player. He has not been a good player. Please don't get me wrong. I am not saying he's been a good player.
Like, but it's the coach's prerogative to bring him out of the team when he's playing bad.
Yes.
You know, if he keeps seeing these performances and he's putting them on the pitch, the fans are going to get that reaction and you're going to get boos. And that's stemming from everyone else can see it, that you need to take him off or not even start him in the game just for a couple, you know, just to see how he reacts if he comes on and starts playing better. But when you just keep him in the team, and I discussed it on the afternoon show today, it's like there's a clause in his contract where he has to play a certain amount of minutes. That's what he feels like.
Yeah.
And I don't think he should.
The manager's at fault as well. Like I said previously, the manager is at fault for a lot of things.
Yeah.
We saw it with Anthony, didn't we, with the favouritism. He was continually playing him. And he was poor, and he would not drop him. We were begging for Ahmad, Pellistri, different people and stuff like that. He continually played him. So this is a stubbornness Ten Hag has. He seems to have a stubbornness tactically. He'd have a stubbornness for players and playing a certain way. And one way or the other, it's either going to click at some point, and we're in season 3 now, and it hasn't clicked. So the odds are probably not going to click. Or he's going to have a realization and epiphany, much like he did Leander last season, and switch things up and change things. That's the two things. And either way, if it goes on for long, this like performances in this way, sticking to this system and playing these certain players, it's going to cost him his job because people aren't going to have it anymore. And he's going to be 8th in the table at Christmas and people are going to be calling for his head. And then he can't have anyone to blame except himself because he's made these decisions. So I agree with you. The manager's at fault, players are at fault. Everybody's in the doghouse at the minute.
But there's a broader question there because it's, I think, a pool of players, a selection of players, you know, for all the senior ones in there, basically. I think Bruno, Rashford, Casemiro, all of them way off it. Now, Casemiro
as well.
Leach as well, yeah, has been pretty poor. Yeah. I'd question his IQ at times when he's diving in and getting turned, and I'm like, there's something not right at all. And we had kind of murmurs, didn't we, last season of Varane and Casemiro suggesting to Ten Hag, maybe we should do a bit more of a pragmatic approach, keep it tight. And obviously, I know he did switch it for the last couple of games and we got results, but it just seems he's so hell-bent on doing this style that it's like it's this way or nothing. And it just, if it's not getting results, we've lost 2 of our first 3 games. So the next question I want to ask on that is how much does Ugarte help? How much of a difference will he make? Because it's only one player, innit?
I had a discussion with James from the Muppeteers, and people were coming for James for some reason because I know he supports Rashford quite heavily, and I'm sure when we get him on, we can ask him about it and discuss that. I had to think he's going to help with certain matters, much like when Fred played for the team. His energy and his bite and his things he got around helped the team at times. It would just be like when Fred would get the ball at certain times and make certain decisions, it would then cost. I think you're going to get a little bit less of that, or a lot less from that from Ugarte. But he's not going to fix all the problems because tactically things aren't going to change, are it? It's going to be the same tactics. We're going to play the same way. It's just going to be Casemiro out and Ugarte in. And it seems like Ugarte, from what Ten Hag's saying, it seems like he's not going to play that often because he's saying it might be a couple of weeks
from
or
the
even
start,
months
you mean?
Before he's ready. So we could see with the team we've just seen on Sunday get absolutely torn apart. We could see that for the next couple of weeks, months.
Yeah. And then you're already behind.
You know?
Do you remember saying in pre-season, I said, we are going to have a laggy start to the season. I've repeated it so many times.
I said, I agreed with you.
And that's going to cost you points at the start. And we've already lost 6 points. We're 6 points behind Liverpool and City. Now, we was never going to challenge them near the top of the table. But to keep yourself in with a chance, you at least need to win 3, draw 1, maybe. The league's that competitive now from 1st to 10th, I'd argue. And even below that, you look at Brentford at the minute, how well they're doing. You need to start off really, really well. And Brighton as well, of course, who are already making up points on us. So, yeah, I think Ugarte is we'll offer more volume, we'll help in transitions, and we'll get about the pitch a lot more. But there is still so many
He's not the
cobwebs that I'm
saviour.
like, oh.
He's not the saviour. If anybody thinking he's going to come in and fix every single issue we're going on, he's not going to do that.
No.
And then that's going to annoy me because certain fans are going to be like, we paid this amount of money for him and he can't even do this. It's like, it's not his fault. Tactically set up, that is the issue right now. That's what needs to be fixed. Yes, we needed players in and players need to be upgraded, which we've done. I agree. I think Max Rara, we could all agree, good signing. De Ligt, I thought, was probably the best player we had on the pitch against Liverpool. I don't know if you would disagree with that, but I think he was our best player.
Individual battles, he was good.
Yeah. Aguati, obviously, we haven't seen yet. Zirkzee, I thought there was
save
moments
your opinion on Zirkzee because we've got a controversial take on him later.
I think Aguati is just he's not going to be the saviour. He's not going to be the. Do you remember when Bruno came in and basically dragged us to Champions League places? Aguati, he's not going to get us to fourth.
No,
that's not what he's there to do. He's supposed to solve an issue we have, but there's so many more issues across the pitch that we need to resolve before he even becomes an effective tool as a part of that. Because if he comes in, it's like the house is on fire and you've got, oh, well, I'll put the fire out on the shed. So, yeah, but the house is still on fire. So it doesn't matter how good your shed looks. Like, this is still on fire. You need to fix this. So he's not going to fix everything. And people need to accept that.
Whilst we're touching on tactics and coaching, there was a bit of a back and forth between a journalist and Erik ten Hag. I'm not sure if you've seen it. And he pulled up everything a fan would, I would say. This is proper journalism, like get into the details. And he mentioned everything because ten Hag was like, oh, what do you think the problems are? And he was like, the midfield has been an issue for ages. You know, these kind of wild, chaotic games that we're having, and went in depth on it. And then ten Hag replied saying, you are sure? I don't think so, or you wouldn't win trophies like we did. And to beat big opponents, I'm sorry for you. After City, we won the most trophies. I'm sorry for you. That was his reply to him. Now that feels like a bit like a petulant child where he's turning around going, we've won trophies.
That is defensive behaviour, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, if you can, like, I did psychology in college. That is just like ultimate defensive behaviour. Someone has a go at you for something and you know there's an element of truth in there somewhere because it's hit a nerve, it's hit something. So you just go on the attack and try and shut them down and insult them or just try and degrade their argument. That's kind of what that sounds like to me. He's trying to back up his ideas and his philosophy, which is clearly failing, by claiming he won trophies. Now, winning trophies is excellent, obviously. But I think the question was based around the league form because the league form last year was terrible. And trophies can mask poor performances. I think Ollie said it in a press conference. It's like you can win all the trophies you want.
Egos.
But if your league position, your consistency in the league is terrible, there's still an issue there. And that's what's going on right now.
Do you think because he's seen it work, let's say in the Carabao and then let's say in the FA Cup final against the best team in the world, he's thinking in his mind, all we need to do is this on a consistent basis and we can beat teams, we can punish teams. And also, where is the evidence for him to look at and say this is sustainable for the future? When when you look at the stats, everyone pulls them up.
Yeah.
We've lost, what was it, 3 more away games to top 6, like 3-0 and more, like loads. I can't remember what the specific one was, but you see more and more metrics coming out like this, aren't you?
Yeah, like people say, oh, he's beat City or he's beat Liverpool. We beat him in the cups in a one-off game, which I think is an achievement. However, in the league, they've absolutely demolished us.
Yeah.
For the most part, like they've took it to us every single time.
1 win in 13 against Liverpool. I read
exactly. Like, it's not good enough. It's just fucking not good enough. And I think his metric is based on very narrow data, as in cup games, as in a specific 5 or 6 game run. I would say a cup run is if you go to the final. You need to look at it over a longer term to get value from the data. Like, I work in marketing. And my thing is all data. It's like, why has this ad worked? Why has this ad not worked? You need to look at 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. You need to look at the data and it'll tell you everything. If you look at that data one day to another, it's not going to tell you shit because you're like, oh, that ad failed then. It's like, yeah, but you looked at it for one day. If you look at it for 30 days, it actually sold X amount thing. You got this number and stuff because actually over the month it's done quite well. It's just had this one day where it's been a bit shit. He's looking at the inverse. He's like, one day, look, it works. If you look at the entire league form, 38 games, you were terrible. which shows to me that your style and your system isn't working long term, because over the long term it hasn't produced results because you finished 8th. So that's why I feel like his theory falls down. And I don't know whether he genuinely can't see it, or he's just so stubborn, like you said, that he's just going to go with it no matter what happens. He's just going to try and force it no matter what happens. And if he loses his job, so be it. I don't know which way. I don't know what it is. I genuinely don't.
The concerning thing is that team that he put out on is it Monday today? Yeah, is it yesterday?
Yeah.
Was that almost his best team? Like, it's not like this is an injury riddled team, is it?
Yeah, like what?
Luke
Shaw and Højlund.
Apart from that, it's your best team. It is your best team. Yeah. So if you're being beaten comprehensively like that, I know it's Liverpool, and I know they started off flying and they look really good on the slot. You can already see what's going to happen in the future. You can already see the way the season's going with 3 games in, by the way, and people are already talking about what manager next. You know, will they sack Ten Hag? And it's like, oh my, how on earth we've gone from all this positivity during pre-season and the build-up to even the Community Shield game where we put in a relatively decent performance against City, to 2 games later, and now it's like all hell's broke loose.
You also, it's damning as well, because Arne Slot basically in 2 minutes on Sky Sports broke down how he beat us. Yeah. In 2 minutes flat, he broke it down. And it was a child explaining to a child how to do something. Yeah. It was ridiculous. Thomas Frank did the same thing last year. He did the exact same thing. He basically was like, yeah, push up with the full backs because you know they'll lose possession here. You win the ball back and you're in on goal.
Yeah.
And if Thomas Frank knows, with the squad he's got, which is what he's paid, like an 1/8 of what we've paid for our squad.
Yeah.
And Arne Slot, who's come to the Premier League and he's had 3 games in the Premier League, and he's not bought a player besides Chiesa who wasn't on the pitch, and he's worked it out, that tells me there's something severely wrong.
Yeah.
That tells me something wrong there.
One thing I will say on that, we both know that he's inherited a squad that's been together for quite a long time in terms of like Salah, Jota, Diaz, these kind of ones.
There's circumstances.
There's circumstances behind it, so it's much easier transitional period. But it's Ten Hag's 3rd season, so that argument really is nullified, isn't it? When you he's had time. And he's been fully back. £613 million he spent.
That squad, like aside from what Rashford, who's an academy player, Bruno, Casemiro, who was bought by a thing, and Casemiro was he bought him.
Oh shit, yeah, but it weren't his signing, was it though? Is
right.
what I mean.
But he signed him.
He said, yeah.
Everybody else he bought on that pitch. Like he bought them. Like he's bought every single player there. So Garnacho, I'm sorry. Yeah. Garnacho, Rashford, and Bruno, we did. But
it's one of Garnacho's his player because he's the one who's brought him through the ranks, isn't it? Like he's trusted him. So it is his player,
just,
and
for the sake of like legitimacy and just getting things correct. But like it's just, I don't know where he turns from here. I don't know where he goes. Like what possible excuse can he give? Like I don't. It's baffling me, and I want to back him. I want him to stay. I want him to succeed, but I'm slowly running out of patience or excuses for like what's going on. I really am.
One of the biggest decisions he made was moving on David De Gea. He was obviously took like a year out and ended up going to Fiorentina. It seems to be doing relatively well. I think a lot of people agreed at the time that they needed to move him on. You wanted a more modern goalkeeper. You look at David Raya, Alisson, Edison, all fantastic with the feet, and De Gea was never that. It's just never going to be that at this stage in his career. So when he brought Onana in, who just had, was probably the best goalkeeper in the Champions League that season, 45 million, a lot of people behind it. Some people was questioning it about, De Gea and blah, blah, blah. I still think in theory it was the right decision. But you look at the Liverpool game, the 3rd goal that we conceded, his positioning in the goal. He's like right on the left-hand side. I don't know if anyone's seen this. But then I don't know if you remember the Brentford game last year as well. He's basically
inviting Salah to strike there. And he's like, hit it there.
Yeah.
Hit it there.
But he's very unorthodox and very, like, I don't know. It just doesn't fill me with confidence at the minute. He still seems like he's got a mistake in him, doesn't he?
It's also, we're not playing to his strengths. We bought him to play out from the back and for his passing. And he's hitting long balls every game.
Yeah.
Why have we bought him if he's just going to hit long balls? Like, I don't understand it. We bought him to play out from the back, to give it to the centre-back, to play through to midfield. Great with his feet. We've seen it. He's got a good pass on him. But every time he gets the ball, what is he doing? he's pinging it long over to Garnacho. He's pinging it up to Zirkzee to get his head on it. Like, why have we bought him in to do that? Like, I don't. Like, it just baffles me. Why is he doing that? If we bought him in for certain strengths and certain abilities, and we're not using him for those abilities, bizarre. Really bizarre.
I think the best way to describe this team this season, and Onana as well. Well, the team in general, it's like, do you know when you see the videos of like when it's like a Labrador, like a puppy farm, and they open the gates and all the dogs just run out?
Yeah.
That's how we play. That is our style. And Onana is one as well who just like he it doesn't seem to be any thinking behind it. It's just risking it. Like, I don't care if it's a risk. I want to take it regardless. And it was an interview that he did, and he got asked, and he's like, do you remember he said, be prepared for us to take a lot more risks this season?
Yeah.
And if the risk isn't worth the reward, why take the risk? That's my question.
Well, Casemiro was doing it as well. Like, his passing was so...
Oh, that clip.
Like, yeah, I put it in the group chat.
God.
He was just passing stuff for the fuck of it. He wasn't even looking like what he was doing. He was just hitting balls and hoping that was stuff. And that's what Onana's doing. He's getting the ball and he wants to play out quickly. And then he's going... Either he thinks he doesn't have an option, or people are not showing for the ball enough that he thinks, I can't play it to them. But he had De Ligt and Leach in front of him, and he had Dalot and Matsuri, who are all capable of taking the ball from the back and playing out from the back, because they've done it for Ten Hag before, and they've done it at Bayern as well, Matsuri, and think like they've done it, so they know what to do. And then he's just pinging the ball up top, and then we lose possession. And it's just like, great, we're just giving him a turnover. Fantastic. Let's just another goal again. And then Casemiro was doing the same thing. Bruno doing the same thing, just giving the ball away continuously in our own half, which is even more criminal. Like, if you're doing it in their final third and you lose the ball, fine, you're trying to create chances. But in your own half is just disgraceful. Like, it's fucking disgraceful to do that in your own half.
Yeah, I always said, like, it's because he's got Maguire in front of him. It's because he's got Jenny Evans in front of him. Yeah. And you actually look at it and you're like, well, he's got De Ligt now in front of him, Lissandro, Dalot, Mazzarri, all very capable on the ball. And it's still happening now. So systematically, regardless whatever way you look at it, whatever narrative, that you want to paint, there is something fundamentally wrong with this system, and it is not working. And if he continues to deploy this system, we're done for, aren't we, this season?
And then, I know we're going to touch on Zirkzee later. You couple that with the forwards not able to score goals whatsoever.
Oh, God, yeah.
So every part of the pitch is just malfunctioning and just doesn't work. Like, doesn't work. So I'm sure we'll touch on the forwards later.
Yeah, well, we can dive into that now. We said at the start, and we put on our socials, make sure you submit your controversial opinions. We've got 8 or 9, I think, to get into. So we'll dive into them shortly. Please do smash a like on the video for us and get involved and get your opinions as well. And we'll read them out. I'm just going to read a couple of comments out now. Well, on the good front, the wife made me sirloin steak with peppercorn sauce, garlic potatoes, and mushrooms. That's from Richard Hawkins. He's a happy chap. My Damn United, evening, Nick and Sam and everyone.
What's up, damn? How are we going?
John saying Tony Cruz keeps the ball and dictates play. Casemiro was a different type. I know what I was saying to is more like same stages in the career, mid-30s or close to mid-30s, come from Real Madrid in a more secure possession-based setup. And then obviously Casemiro's a lot more exposed in this one that we use. That's what I was kind of referencing. Diaz isn't on Rashford wages yet, runs himself into the ground. I'm actually an idiot for putting them in the same sentence. I forgive all those who are now Erik Ten Hag out after the embarrassment, but I will never forget. I don't know what the rest of that says. Can't understand it. I shouted at my mates when we used to play football years ago. Even when we was 5 or 6-0 up, I have no problem in criticising players for United who have been poor for a game or a while. Same for Erik Ten Hag. Box is saying RVN waiting in the wings. What do you think, Sam?
I think if Ten Hag goes, it's almost a certainty, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Bex is saying United will be better this season. I think the Liverpool game was a good wake-up call.
How many times did we say that last season? How many times did we get battered or have a performance like, no, this is the turning point now. This is where we turn a corner, and it just didn't.
We talk about systems, but the players in place are simply not doing the basics. Combine that with error, with lack of work rate, same rubbish again. I'm still Erik Ten Hag in, but you can't keep accepting this. Raja, I'm not Eric out, but manager and players definitely have to improve. A lot of common sense in the chat. It's nice to see. Awoyu Druye says, Ten Hag must change his tactics. It's so boring playing at the back. You looked at the passing networks yesterday, Sam. It's like volleyball. Like, the defence is so deep, and it's just long balls to Rashford, like, hanging on the last man, and it's like...
We were pressing so well for, like, and pushing up for the first, like, 20 minutes or so. We were in that game for, like, 20 minutes.
Yep.
And we were pressing well.
How many times have we heard that before as well, by the way?
Working out, I was like, I like this. And then that Trent goal that got chalked offside went in. And then we just fucking, all confidence disappeared. And we just sat back and just invited them onto us. And eventually the goals came through Casemiro's mistakes. And it's just like, you can't even keep that pressing up for a full half. You literally, a goal goes in, but you get shot off and your confidence is shot. Yeah. Like, no mentality in that team. Zero.
Yeah, a lot of people riled up, and I can absolutely understand why. Steph saying we need 2 holding midfielders with the luxuries, Bruno and Rashford, in our team. Rajat, your underlit defence is going to help Martinez with games ahead, hopefully. Jay McGrogan, football is fickle, though, Nick. People have very short memories. It's true.
Absolutely.
Rashford is low on confidence this season. He's not even taken on his defender. So many times he's turned back and slowed down our attacks. The one against Canate was so evident yesterday. Have a run at you, man, mate.
The amount of time he was against Trent, who defensively is fucking suspect.
Yes.
At best of times. Yeah. Going forward, and his passing is one of the best in the league. He's fantastic. Defensively, he's fucking suspect. Run at him. Have a go at him. You see him in England training all the time. You know what he's about. Fucking go at him. You will get the best of him. But he just doesn't. He just refuses, and it's just, I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Bizarre one. Right, should we go into these controversial opinions then? And we've had quite a few submissions, so thank you very much for that. Make sure next time we do it as well, get involved on Instagram and Twitter, and let us know your thoughts. I've added one as well that was in the chat that I thought was decent, so that'll pop up towards the end. But yeah, we'll dive into the first one, Sam, and I'll read it out for you. So, what have we got first?
I can't see him on the screen, so you have to read it for me.
I think, is that the first one? Have I got no? 1 second. Put up the second one because I'm an absolute idiot. We'll go into that one in a minute. So, if the system is right, the players will play well. Ten Hag's system isn't right.
Is that controversial?
Well, this is what they might think in their mind. It's controversial, but there is. We've just spent quite a while discussing: is it the players? Is it the system?
I think 50% of that comment is correct. The system is definitely wrong. Like, the system is fucking wrong because it's just not working. However, I think there's certain players in there who are just not mentally up for it, or just not good enough, no matter what system we play. So I think 50% of that comment is spot on. The other 50%, I don't think I think if Ten Hag played the exact way Casemiro wants to play, I still think he makes mistakes, and I still think he's reckless.
What players do you think? I'm still on the same one, but what players do you think will never be good enough for this club?
What's define good enough?
So, competing at the top of the league, competing in Europe.
For different reasons. Rashford, I think he's done. Yeah. Like, everybody was hoping for that Mbappe level player. He isn't that guy. He isn't. I'm sorry. He's not. Shaw, because of injury, can't be relied upon. Like, he's fantastic when he's fit, but he just can't stay fit. You can't rely on him. Like, you can't deal with it. Ericsson, but I think we all know he's probably on his way at some point.
First team players.
Yeah. I think Garnacho can, because he's still got room to improve and room to grow. Zirkzee's far too early. Kobbie Mainoo absolutely has. Yeah. I think Kobbie Mainoo's got all the attributes. He's just been played into the ground and played far too many games at a young age. Bruno has, but his attitude sometimes lets him down. De Ligt has. Yoro, I think, will, because obviously he's got seriously talent. I think Leacher has. I don't know if Dalot has. And I don't know if Onana has.
Interesting.
There's some in there, but I love Dalot's attitude. I love his fight. I love his passion. I love the way he gives everything. Sometimes he switches off at the back. I think he was at fault for the Brighton goal, wasn't he? Because it's his back post in the all. I know it was like 4 of him who rushed forward, but Marky man, come on.
Okay. Let's go on to the next one. Rashford wasn't the worst player on the pitch, Casemiro aside. So who else stuck out for you, Sam, on there? Who had a stinker? I know there was a lot of them, but
Onana, like we mentioned, we touched on, like probably could do better with a third goal, and his passing was just long, just didn't think. Bruno, terrible, really terrible performance. Garnacho, I didn't think offered enough to justify staying on the pitch either. I know people were annoyed because you didn't take Rashford off, but you had to take one of them off.
Yeah, they was both as bad as each other, really.
His justification for keeping Rashford on was the 2 balls he put into Zirkzee. I think that was his. I know it's a shit justification and it shouldn't be, but I think I'm trying to wrap my head around how he's justified it. That's it. Zirkzee's finishing wasn't great. Got into good spots and opportunities, but I think that's just a bit of ring rust. He's not played any minutes over the summer. His first start, he's had minutes here, so hopefully that comes with time. But yeah, he was off it. I thought De Ligt had a decent game, like in his individual sort of battles. I thought Matsurawi was not bad. He had moments where he was decent. Everybody else was pretty shit, to be honest. I think everybody was as bad as each other. Obviously, Casemiro's mistakes stand out because they cost 2 goals, but I think everybody was pretty piss poor, to be honest with you.
I think with Rashford, what it is, and we slightly glazed over it before, the money that he's on, the fact he's an academy player, and the fact that he's shown such a high level before, that's why the expectations are so big, right? Whereas with the other ones, like some of them are youngsters, like Kobe and Garnacho. Casemiro, we've seen the writing on the wall for a bit, I would say. So Rashford, at the same, you're like, where's this guy, man? Where is this guy who's like, the first season, he was unbelievable. He was just bagging everything, looked so full of confidence. How can that go to, like, right down to the bottom of the pecking order? That's the worrying thing.
There's got to be. There's stuff going on in his personal thing, and it's affecting his performances. Or he's just checked out. Like, after having a season,
seems he's done.
It just doesn't seem like he wants to be there, for the most part. And he's just sort of going through the motions. And I think in his head, he kind of thinks, well, they're not going to drop me. So what's the consequences? Keep going, innit? Like, I've got my bag now. Like, just carry on. It's all good.
All right, on to the next one. Ten Hag to be sacked before Christmas. Ruud van Nistelrooy to take over, which we kind of touched on as well.
Yeah.
Does this happen, Sam? Give me a percentage.
I think it's 50-50 at the minute.
Yeah.
I think if we see 3, 4, 5 more games like we've seen this thing, it might go that ratio might go way up. I think if he does get sacked, it's almost a certainty Ruud van Nistelrooy becomes the manager. Whether that's interim or permanently, he will be the next Man United manager.
People will say they brought him in as a coach, but I don't see that.
Ineos have hedged their bets there, haven't they?
I think so.
They've hedged their bets, yeah.
I think so, yeah. And it's an easy tapping in it because they had reservations about the manager, which what anyone wants to say, they was looking and speaking to other managers during the summer. We all knew that publicly, right? So they have reservations about him, and maybe them reservations are starting to come to fruition now, and they're like, we may need to act. If they do need to act, who bring in a former United legend who's actually a really good coach, even if it's until the end of the season in very Ollie kind of fashion, is it the worst thing in the world if that happens?
No, don't think but also they interviewed everybody last summer, everybody, and none of them they felt were good enough. And now when you sack him, you're going to go back to those people and go, yeah, you know what he said last summer? We didn't think you were good enough. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't look good. You've got Ruud van Nistelrooy there, very capable first-team manager, won things with Feyenoord, tactically disciplined and aware, and he'll get more time for the fans because of who he is as a Man United legend. He'll get more time. So it's just, like you said, easy tapping.
Yep. Right. What have we got next? Zirkzee is a Tony Pulis player. Thoughts on that? What have you made of Zirkzee so far?
I think it's harsh, man. He's not had time yet. He's had 2 substitute appearances and 1 start, and he scored a goal. And he got in some fantastic positions against Liverpool. Probably should have bagged 2 goals, but he's rusty and he's not sharp yet. Which he's not had any minutes in the 4 minutes in the Euros, I think he got. So he's not kicked a ball really since then. So I think give him time. I think there's other players in there more deserving of criticism, like we've touched on in Rashford and stuff like that. I think it's very harsh to judge him after 3 games and he's only started 1. think it's extremely harsh.
I did remember reading some concerns from people who are pretty good when it comes to tactical analysis about Zirkzee adaptation to the Premier League. Now, whether that'll be just a case of time, like you're suggesting, or whether it may never ever happen, is yet to see. But like I said, it's been 3 games in it. His first start for the club on Sunday. Let's just chill out on that and relax. He's scored already, so that's something, I suppose.
Yeah.
So yeah, let us know, everyone else, your thoughts on Zirkzee. Rajat is saying, can Zirkzee put headers away? Is he good? Well, they can't. It's not really great in the air for his height, has to be said. Give Zirkzee some Rory the lap throw-ins. He's not that kind of player. He's not that kind of player, but I get the Stoke reference. Right. Up next. We should have never have sold Fred. Said it from the day he left.
I understand what he's saying, because Fred provided energy, he provided grit, he busted his ass every single game. However, I think there's some revisionist history going on there where he's forgetting all the games where Fred dropped absolute stinkers and made some horrific mistakes. Sometimes even half to half, he'd have a fantastic first half, and then the second half he'd come out and just shit the bed.
Yeah.
And that would happen because he was never consistent, Fred, ever. And we don't need that in the team. We need somebody who's consistent, somebody who drops solid 7, 8 out of 10s every week, not somebody who does a 9 and then has a 3 the next game. Like, I think that's revisionist, rose-tinted spectacles about how Fred was at the club.
I think Ugarte will replace what Fred left, but more in terms of quality on the ball.
And consistency.
And consistency, yeah, because that was a huge problem with you just never knew which one you was going to get. Obviously scored a hat-trick there for Fenerbahce the other day, so and we play them in the Europa League, so yeah, we play it against Amrabat and Fred in the midfield, which is going to be great. Okay, last 2 coming up. We weren't as bad as everyone makes out yesterday. The stats were pretty even. We conceded 3 howlers and missed 2 sitters, butchered a few transitions as well.
I agree.
Interesting.
Like, if you look, I think obviously the mistakes cannot be swept away because that was a major part of why we lost. But if you look at their shots on target, they had 3 and they scored them. Where did those 3 shots on target come from? Mistakes from us.
Shabazz should have scored as well. Don't forget that one.
Exactly. Yeah. But that was on him, wasn't it? So he made that decision and it didn't pay off. So if Casemiro doesn't make those mistakes, do they win 3-0? It's possible. I suppose it's definitely possible, but I think we limited their chances, and I think we played decently well in first 20 minutes, and obviously just fucking chucked it away. Had it not been for individual mistakes, would we have won that game? I don't think so. But had we been battered 3-0, I don't think so either.
Are the players error prone, or does the system almost force them into errors?
I think it's both.
There's an element of that in it with the system, because I look at it and like, is Casemiro
chaotic? It's
being
chaotic.
Instructed to say every time you get it, play a vertical pass, regardless of the situation. In which case, if he is, then you're like, well, you can't really blame the player, can you? Because he's being told to do it. So it's hard to find that line in between if it's coming from the coach or if these players are just like, Onana, I think he is error prone. Whereas the others, I do think that there's a weight on him from what they're being told to do.
Anybody who plays for United, there's an immediate pressure, and some players just crumble underneath it. They do. They just crumble underneath it. And I think the system doesn't help because it's just chaotic. There's no control in this system. Whatever he's doing, this vertical transition sort of stuff, there's no control in it.
It's wild.
There's no stop. There's no break in it. So even if we say we were 2-0 up, he'd still be doing this. He'd still be going. There's no thing in his head, in his system, where he goes, right, we need to take the sting out of this a little bit. We need to just calm things down a little bit. Let's put our foot on the ball. Let's do this. There's none of that in any of the system. It's just all go. Yeah. And you're just going to lead to chaos, and teams will just dismantle you and destroy you. Arne Slot's done it. Thomas Frank's done it. Adim Ariola at Bournemouth has done it. Lesser managers than Ten Hag have absolutely destroyed him. Like, we could talk about Pep and Klopp because fantastic managers, but managers who've not really done anything in Premier League have finished below us, have destroyed us continuously, which tells me the system isn't right on top of the individual errors. So I think that's where we're at.
Hamster wheel is how I describe the way we play. If anyone else,
Yep.
just like continuous. Yeah, let's just see what happens. Just fucking run and go for it. I just would love to see sometimes in a game, Casemiro just take it under pressure and go like that. Calm down, everyone.
Yeah.
You know, be collective, be a bit more compact. Let's get our foot on the ball and let's start playing some football. It's a million miles an hour for 90 minutes.
It don't exist. It don't exist in the system. What does every good team who wins titles have? Control. Like, they have control of games. I don't remember a game we've been in control of. I can't think of one.
No, not in the recent. I can think of games in like his first season or whatever, but
We've literally just chaotically like
even
tried
against
to
Newport,
win.
Sam, it weren't controlled, was it?
Yeah,
Because they scored 2-3.
We've just gone much like the Joker. It's just like, I'm an agent of chaos. I'm just gonna just fucking throw everything and hope something happens.
It's a roll of the dice, isn't it?
Yeah, he's like, what is it? Dogs chasing cars. It's like, I'm a dog chasing car. I have no idea what would happen if I got older one. That's basically what's going on. It's like, once we're winning, we have no idea what we're gonna do. We just keep going until the whistle goes. Like, that's where we're at.
Okay, and the last one we have, Dean Henderson is better than Onana. That was in the comments before. I thought I'm gonna have to whack that one on.
Christ.
Yeah.
Who said that? Do we know who said that?
I can't remember who it was. Someone will put it in the chat, whoever it was.
Yeah. Whoever was that, own up to that one.
Might have been John or Hominin.
John? Okay.
I can't say his name, but yeah. I don't know if that's a throwaway comment or banter. Or...
I disagree heavily with that one, but hey, everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
Yeah. I think as a collective, Onana's not started the best, has he? No. I don't think anyone has, to be honest with you.
Name a player who's played well.
I can't really, can you? You can't.
Traore?
Yeah, Ahmad and Matt Traore, the ones I'd say have probably been the best, and that's not like, you know, much of a yardstick because Ahmad was pretty poor against Brighton, but he scored. I thought he was good in the game before that. I thought he was good he was definitely our best player when he came on against Liverpool on that right hand side for sure. It's just, I don't know what to think with this club anymore. It's so hard supporting it and following it because you just, much like our play and our tactics, you don't know what you're going to get with the club ever. And it'd just be nice to have some consistency in the team, wouldn't it?
It's so bizarre. Last season produced two of the best moments I've ever had supporting this club.
Yeah.
Like, in my entire thing, like, it's two of the best moments. Beating Liverpool in semi-final, in the quarter-final at Old Trafford, with the Ahmad goal, one of the best moments of my life watching United. And I was in the stadium for it.
Yeah.
And then the final against City, one of the greatest cup wins ever. But then you look at the season, it was a fucking dumpster fire. It was horrific. Like, I don't understand it. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
And I'm sure everyone else feels the same in the chat. I know a lot of you are frustrated and equally feel exactly like us. So we do have a show planned at some point in the international break. We're going to call it an emergency meeting where we're going to get a few of the lads on and we're going to really break down everything and get, you know, right into it in terms of tactics and the bad situations that's happened over the past couple of seasons and why it's not necessarily working out for Erik ten Hag. So do keep an eye out from that. I just want to go into the comments, Sam, just 2 seconds, because I've seen a comment from Bexy saying Ahmad wouldn't get in any top 4 club. Aston Villa finished top 4 last season. He will definitely start for them. So that's nonsense, first and foremost. Joshua Owen I remember grey kit. Raja, like Amrabat, but he didn't work. Not consistently very good. Of course, I want Arsenal to win the league instead of Liverpool and City. Nick, are you confident facing Victoria pleasing? And
not at this point.
No. I mean, we got Porto away in one of the first games, haven't we, in the Europa League?
I think Rangers were absolute shite against Celtic. I still think they could give us a game.
Yeah, I think anyone can. If you got a coach with half a brain who knows our flaws, which everyone knows anyway, it's not hard to play against us. It's really not if you set up properly. Our season last year is exactly like watching our games, feast or famine. That's from DB Cooper. Spot on. Yeah. Craig the Unicorn. I would comment on your IG, but I'm banned on IG apparently. Don't know why you're banned.
Hey, Craig?
I don't know why you're banned.
Put your username, Craig, in in the thing for Instagram, and I'll look through the blocked lists and see.
Yeah, I don't know why he banned, unless you've like sent some abuse or something ridiculous. Then
Yeah.
he wouldn't have been banned. The club seems stable in the corridors now. Ineos will make big decisions. Rashford is the only one who gets breathing space due to his PR. That's from Bexy. McMillan, does anybody know what Ajax players' injury records were when Erik ten Hag was manager? Was his football this frenetic or frenetic?
Yeah, frenetic. Yeah.
Mount wouldn't break down this much if this ridiculous Helter Shelter wasn't played. I think Leach's injury record was squeaky clean before he came to United, as far as I'm aware. The other ones, obviously, he didn't really work with at Ajax specifically. You got Antony, but I don't think he's been injured, or bad big injuries. As I say, he's had little niggles here or there. Onana hasn't been injured so far. Delete.
Oh, Craig has said Instagram banned him, not us. Okay.
Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough. My bad. Just send it. Follow us on Twitter if you've got X. We put it up before. Like, comment on there. Like any social media platform that you're on, we're on there. Who's the best rival team to win the league? Tottenham, then Arsenal. Tottenham have never won the league, and Arsenal haven't won it in 20 years. So
Tottenham are never winning the league. It's not fucking happening.
No.
They'll just bottle it every year.
No.
Bottle. They had a chance to win the league where Leicester won it in a 2-horse race and finished third.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
And if you look at the performance against Newcastle as well, they are still way too easy to score against.
Wide open.
Yeah. I don't see that style ever being winning the league. Similar to with United, I don't think we'll win the league with this style. But hey ho.
Look at the teams that have won the league in the last sort of 10 years. They have an element of control. City, Liverpool, Chelsea. They all have elements of control, like in their games. Yep. Teams like Spurs, us, people like that, you're never going to win because you don't have that control over a game. It's just chaotic.
Yeah, agreed. It is like we said, guys, it is the internationals, which no one fucking likes. But maybe it's come at a good time for Manchester United. I'm not sure individually what players are going to stay at Carrington and train. We do have Luke Shaw and Højlund come back, hopefully, after the international break. So that's something if you want to cling on to it, if he actually does come back. And then obviously Euro in November.
I swear to God, if they would have announced that England squad and Shaw was in it, I would have lost my mind. I would have lost my fucking mind.
I'm already pissed off. I mean, Uarte's gone. He's with the Uruguay already. Alessandro's going to be, and I think they're going to be back on the Thursday before the game on Saturday at 12:30. So I can already see both of them not starting in the team. And then Southampton away, Sam. I don't think they're yet to pick up points. Would you even be worried about that game?
Yeah, I'm worried now.
Yeah,
I'm worried now. They could definitely give us a game because, like we said, you know how to beat United. It's very, very easy. So if he sticks to his plan, he'll be able to do us. It won't shock me at all.
Zirkzee and Delita are on international duty as well. That's what I'm saying, man. You know what happens with United? Players score.
Is Koeman still manager?
Yeah. So he won't play anyway.
Right, so they won't play. So
yeah, he won't be in the team. I said that to my mate. He was going on about Zirkzee, and he said oh well, he don't get picked for the Dutch squad. I was like, mate, if you're basing these kind of facts or opinions or whatever on Ronald Koeman's judgment, I don't know what to tell you, mate. You know what I'm saying? He's a shit manager. He's failed at the majority of teams that he's been with, unless it's been in the Dutch league. So yeah. Managerial's going on international duty. Again, I'm not sure. I'm going to do a show on that. I will do a show on it in terms of individual players, United players, who are going away and who's going to stay at Carrington and stuff. Maybe Malacia will return after the international break. Who knows? Stranger things will happen.
He said, what did he say tonight? He said months? Or did he say weeks?
With Malacia, do you mean?
Yeah. Was it months? He said.
I don't know.
Like 2 months? 2 months or 3 months, he said he might be ready?
Probably to get fully, up to match fitness, I'd imagine. It'd take a while. I mean, it's not like anyone's kind of banking on him returning and being the saving grace, is it, with Malacia?
No, sometimes players with that sort of injury as well, they don't ever recover. No. They don't ever come back. So if he's been out for that long, I worry for him, man. I really do.
A lot of football to miss, innit? Yeah, for sure. Right, we shall leave it at that, guys. Thank you very much for submitting your controversial opinions. We're going to do a couple of more interactive shows over the international break because obviously no more transfer window. That's completely shut and no more football for United. So there'll be plenty of stuff, a variety of kind of content put out there. If there's
Guest
anything that
as well.
you guys, guest as well, yeah, of course. If there's anything you guys would want to see or watch, or more kind of content that you like, put it in the chats, comment on our post, let us know, and we'll do our best to get it out there. Apart from that, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Subscribe to the channel, smash a like on the video for us, and me and Sam will see you guys in the next one, yeah? Take it easy,
Peace.
everyone.